Every time you tell yourself you'll start saving next month, your brain rewards you, not for saving, for delaying. And that reward is so powerful that some people spend decades trapped exactly 1 month away from financial security. The strangest part? The person you've been trusting to eventually fix this doesn't exist. You've been counting on a stranger for years. You weren't lazy. You weren't irresponsible. You weren't bad with money. You were trapped in a psychological loop that was designed to feel like progress while quietly delivering nothing. And here's the part almost nobody realizes. The people who worry most about saving are often the people most likely to postpone it. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why that stranger never arrives, why your brain keeps choosing them anyway, and why "I'll start next month" is one of the most expensive sentences in human psychology. The promise. Let's start with something almost everyone has done. You sit down, maybe at your kitchen table, maybe on your couch late at night, maybe staring at your bank app on your phone, and you make a decision. Starting next month, I'm going to be different. You picture it. You imagine yourself transferring money into savings the moment your paycheck lands. You imagine yourself skipping the unnecessary purchases. You imagine yourself calm, disciplined, in control. For a moment, you feel something close to relief, because the decision itself feels powerful. The plan feels like progress. And then next month arrives, and nothing happens. Not because you forgot, not because you didn't try, not because you don't care, but because the version of you that made the promise is not the same version of you that has to keep it. This is where the stranger comes in, the future self-illusion. Psychologists have a name for this. It's called the future self-illusion. When you think about your future self, your brain doesn't actually picture you. It pictures a stranger, a better, calmer, more organized stranger. A stranger who has more discipline, a stranger who isn't tempted by late-night shopping, a stranger who isn't tempted by late-night shopping, a stranger who isn't tempted by late-night shopping, a stranger who doesn't feel the emotional weight of a difficult week. So when you say, "I'll start saving next month," what you're really saying is, "I'll let that other person handle it." The problem is, that person doesn't exist. Next month, you arrive, the same you. The same habits, the same triggers, and the stranger you were counting on never shows up. Not next month, not the month after, not ever. But even that isn't the real reason people stay stuck. There's something much stranger happening underneath. The comfort of delaying. Here's the part almost nobody understands. The moment you say, "I'll start next month," a small weight lifts off your chest. You're no longer ignoring the problem. You have a plan. You're going to fix it, soon. And that feeling of soon is almost as comforting as actually solving the problem. In some ways, more comforting, because solving the problem requires sacrifice. Saying you'll solve it next month requires nothing, and your brain quietly learns something dangerous. Planning can become a form of avoidance. The plan itself starts to feel almost as good as the result. So you keep making plans, month after month, year after year, each plan giving you a small dose of relief, each plan slowly replacing actual progress. You're not procrastinating because you don't care. You're procrastinating because, somewhere deep inside, the act of intending to save has started to feel like saving. Your brain has confused the decision with the action. And once that confusion sets in, years can pass before you notice. Why today always wins. And researchers discovered something disturbing. Your brain is literally wired against your future. It's designed to take care of the version of you that exists right now, because that's the version your nervous system can actually feel. The future version of you is abstract, a theory. You can't feel their stress. You can't feel their regret. You can't feel their gratitude. But the version of you sitting here right now, you feel everything. You feel the desire. You feel the craving. You feel the exhaustion that wants comfort. So when a small purchase shows up in front of you, your brain treats it as an emergency response to a real current need. And the savings account? It's invisible. It belongs to the stranger. This is what behavioral scientists call present bias. And this is where most people realize the problem isn't money anymore, it's biology. A tilt so deep in human psychology that no amount of willpower fully removes it. If this sounds unfair, that's because it is. Your brain isn't broken. It's just designed for a world that doesn't exist anymore. A world where the future was never guaranteed. So today always mattered most. The real cost of waiting. Now here's the part most people avoid thinking about. Not the financial cost. Forget the math for a moment. The emotional. Because every month you postpone saving, you're not just losing money. You're shrinking the life your future self is allowed to live. You're shrinking the number of choices they get to make. It's the slow erosion of confidence. It's the quiet anxiety that lives in the back of your mind every time you check your account. It's the discomfort of seeing other people your age moving forward. It's the feeling that life keeps happening to you instead of being shaped by it. It's the sleep you lose during stressful months because there's no cushion underneath you. It's the opportunities you can't take, not because you don't want them, but because you can't afford the risk. A trip you would have loved, a career change you would have made, a move you would have taken, a rest you would have allowed yourself. The real cost of postponement isn't measured in dollars, it's measured in freedom. And the strangest part is that this cost doesn't arrive all at once. It arrives slowly, one delayed month at a time, so slowly that you barely notice it, until one day, you do. The hidden story people tell themselves. But what if I told you saving isn't actually the hardest part? The hardest part is the story. Every person who keeps saying, "I'll save next month," is quietly telling themselves a story. Picture a man at 28. He tells himself he'll start saving the moment he gets his next raise. Just a few more months. Just a little more stability. At 32, he's earning more, but life is busier. He tells himself he'll start once things calm down. At 37, he tells himself he'll start once the kids are older. At 43, he's still saying the same sentence, the same one he said at 28. 15 years. 15 years of soon. 15 years of almost. 15 years of waiting for a life that never arrives, and all the while the calendar keeps quietly collecting tomorrows. Listen to the stories. I'll save when I earn more. I'll save when things calm down. I'll save when this stressful chapter ends. I'll save when my expenses go down. These stories feel logical. They feel responsible. They feel mature. But here's the truth. Almost nobody wants to admit. When you earn more, your expenses quietly grow too. When things calm down, a new chaos always arrives. When one stressful chapter ends, another begins. The stable, peaceful, predictable moment you're waiting for is not on its way. That moment is a myth. Most people don't realize they're waiting. They think they're preparing. And unfortunately, knowing all of this still isn't enough, because understanding the trap doesn't break it. The surprising truth. Here is the truth that almost nobody talks about. Most people who keep delaying are not waiting for the perfect month. They're not even waiting for more income. They're waiting for a feeling of readiness, a feeling of control, a feeling that this time you'll actually stick to it, a feeling of certainty. You're not waiting for a financial moment. You're waiting for an emotional. And here's the cruel part. The longer you wait to feel ready, the less likely you are to ever start. Because financial readiness is not a feeling you arrive at. It's a feeling you build through action. Most people think confidence creates action. In reality, action creates confidence, but your brain has it backward. It keeps insisting that you need to feel ready before you act. So you wait. You wait for clarity that only action can create. You wait for confidence that only action can produce. You wait for certainty that life will never hand to you, and the months keep passing. How to break the cycle? Here's what's frightening. Most people don't fail because they never decided to save. They fail because they decided hundreds of times, hundreds of intentions, hundreds of plans, hundreds of starting next month moments stacked on top of each other. So how do you actually break this cycle? Not with motivation, not with shame, Not with a strict budget you'll abandon in 11 days. And ironically, the people who succeed almost never start with a serious saving goal. They start with something much smaller. Because the smaller the action, the less your brain resists it. Start with an amount so small it feels almost embarrassing, something you wouldn't even notice missing. The point is not the amount. The point is the identity. Because small actions don't build savings first. They build trust. Trust between the version of you making the promise and the version of you who has to keep it. Every time you save, even a tiny amount, you're not building wealth. You're building a new version of you, a version who saves, a version who acts, a version who doesn't wait for the perfect month. And here is the part almost no one says out loud. The goal was never to become someone who saves money. The goal was to become someone who keeps promises to themselves. That's what's actually being built every time you act. Not a savings account, a self. And once that self exists, the amount becomes easy to grow. The hard part was never the money. The hard part was becoming the kind of person who doesn't postpone. The biggest reason people don't save money isn't that they don't care about their future. It isn't that they're irresponsible. It isn't that they don't understand the math. It's that they keep quietly believing their future self will do what their present self refuses to do. They keep handing the responsibility to a stranger who never arrives. They keep mistaking the plan for the progress. They keep waiting for a feeling that only action can create. And so the sentence survives. I'll start next month. It survives birthdays. It survives raises. It survives New Year. It survives entire decades. Until one day, you realize something quietly devastating. The person you were waiting to become was supposed to be built by the person you are right now. Not next month. Not after this expense. Not when life finally calms down. Now. In the smallest, most unimpressive way possible. Because the truth is, you were never going to feel ready. You were just going to begin. And the moment you begin, even slightly, even imperfectly, even in a way that feels almost meaningless, something quiet happens. For the first time, your brain stops rewarding the delay and starts rewarding the action. The stranger disappears. Because for the first time, your future self and your present self become the same person. And next month finally arrives.